when the abomination of desolation is placed in the temple. Now this is now skipping forward 2,000 years or so to the revelation of the Antichrist, which he's just talked about in 2 Thessalonians 2. So the Great Tribulation was not at that time. There was a tribulation then, at that time. 1 million Jews were killed. The false prophets had come into the temple, and that's why the Romans burnt the temple to kill the Jews. But the Christian prophet said, go across the river. All the Christians across the river were saved. All the Jews that didn't were killed. 1 million or 100,000 or however, search it up, were crucified around the city, and it was to fulfill this thing. There will be great tribulation such as not been from the beginning of the world until now, and has never been. If those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. The days are cut short. For what? In the midst of the week, 7 years, the days are cut short. The Great Tribulation, whether you're in it, before it, after it, no, we're not worrying about that tonight, but the length of the Great Tribulation is 3.5 years. Times a time, and the dividing of times, 42 months, 1,260 years, is the most time-specific prophecy in the whole of the Bible that's reiterated again and again and again and again and again. Why? If we're not here, we're not going to experience it. Who bothers if it's 2 weeks or 6 months? So, very important. If, and I'm just saying if for the sake of a philosophical, hypothetical scenario, we were in that time, wouldn't it be wonderful to know that we only had a certain amount of time left before the coming of Christ? Now realize though that we're sealed. It says we're sealed. The devil can't kill you if he wants to kill you. The devil can only kill you when God gives him permission to do so. You have power of the devil. And it's very important that it says that when the dragon throws water out of its mouth to kill the woman that gave birth to the child, she fled into the wilderness, was protected for 3.5 years. She's protected for 3.5 years. There are some saints, if they're not Christians, if the church is all gone, who's the devil persecuting? Doesn't make sense. For 1,260 days he's persecuting nobody because all the saved left. Persecuting somebody. Now, I will state this. Personally, I lean to a post-trib rapture. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be very happy. Yeah. Now, if you lean to a pre-trib rapture and you're wrong, not so happy. See? So there's an advantage to leaning towards a post-trib rapture. And I'm not making a categorical a statement tonight about which is true or false. And as I said, when it's fulfilled, we will understand. Now, there's the two major beliefs on that are basically a pre and a post-trib rapture. But remember this, if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved, but for the sake of the elect. For who? The elect. Why for the sake of the elect if they're not there? Then anyone says to you, look here, there's a Christ, don't believe it. False Christs and false prophets will arise to lead, if possible, the elect astray. I've told you beforehand, so if they say, look, he's in the wilderness, don't go out. He's in the inner rooms, don't go out. As the lightning comes from the east as far as the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. When? It's obvious by the context, but not stated directly, he's about to. Wherever the corpse is, there will the vultures be gathered together. Listen to this. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, the powers of the heaven will be shaken. There will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and it will gather all the tribes of the earth, will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with great power and glory, and he will send forth his angel with a loud trumpet, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. This is post-tribulation. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. Now, the jury's out on this, as I say, right? So I don't want you to get unsettled. I'm just putting in a line, chronologically, the things that need to happen before the second coming of Jesus Christ. I'm only going to share these scriptures on that, and I'm available to talk to, and you can email me, and I'll send you other scriptures. But listen, I'm going to line them up now. These are the things that are yet to happen before the coming of Christ. Most of the things we're going to line out, the 50 things that are proving we're in the end time, are not these things, because these things are yet to happen. 1, the fulfillment of the Great Commission. 2, the great falling away. 3, the revelation of the Antichrist. 4, the breaking of the covenant. 5, the Great Tribulation. 6, the rapture. 7, the wrath of God, which is occurring with the marriage supper of the Lamb, a 45-day period, or so. The jury's out on that, or so. And then the second coming of Jesus Christ, in which he come down, landing his feet on Mount of Olives, splitting it asunder, and establishing a world government for a period of 1,000 years, which is called the millennium. Does it make sense? So all these things have to happen in order. In order. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So whether you're raptured pre or post-trib does not matter on this timeline. This is the timeline that has to happen. All right? So, does that make sense? So that's why there's an attention drawn by Paul in which he says, don't be suddenly shaken that the day of the Lord is epistemai. Is about to happen. Is at hand, is imminent. For these things must happen. And he talks just about one of them. Now, so that's basically a prelude to what we're studying. So there's 7 things yet to happen before the second coming of Christ. And I'm talking about the second coming of Christ, not the rapture. The rapture is before the second coming of Christ. Some of you say, well, Jesus said he'd come back again. He didn't say he'd come back again more than once. Well, listen, came back from the dead. That's a coming. He appeared to the disciples 3 times. Then he arrived on the day of Pentecost. He came into my heart the day I got saved. I saw him in a vision. He told me to go to China. I'll get raptured in the air, and you'll come and sit his feet on the Mount Olives. How many times did Jesus come? Right? He's coming somewhere every day. But the coming of Christ, the second coming to earth from heaven physically, will happen after these events. Does that make sense? All right. You still love me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I love you too. Now, it's very important that we understand this. Now, we're not going to talk about those things anymore. Those things are yet to happen. We're going to talk about the fact of why we know we're on the verge of those 6 things happening before the coming of Christ. And that's why. There's an increasing instability of nature. Now, you look at that. I've highlighted the word 1952. Now, 10 of the biggest, the 10 biggest, not 10 of the biggest, the 10 largest earthquakes in human history have happened since 1952. Do you think we're in the end time?
Yep.
I do, because Jesus said in Matthew 24:7, and Matthew 24 is the same as Luke 21. So both are good. Matthew 24:7, Jesus said this. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Look, since 1952, there have been 10. These are the 10. And if you keep going down, it could be 20, 30, 40, 50. Not of the, but the greatest earthquakes the world has ever known. The 10 greatest earthquakes have all occurred since 1952. And in 1949, something specifically important happened. What was that?
Israel was 1948, right?
Okay.
1949.
1948. We're good. 1948.